right, intermediate math, 2.2% with fractions. We're just continuing on what we started with 2.1. We're going backwards though. So the first thing it wants us to do, I'm on page 70 in your book. Number 2 wants us to write this fraction as a percent. It's given us the fraction 7/10. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do one like this. First, we're going to do it the way the book shows you. 7/10 really means 7 divided by 10. Right? 10 won't go into 7, so I'm going to have to do a decimal. Bring my decimal, pull a 0. 10 goes into 70 7 times, which is 70, so I'm not going to have to keep going. I know that 0.7, if I want to make that a percent, I move that decimal place 2 places to the right, which will give me 70%. Okay, that is the correct answer. But I want us to see on this one, it's kind of a special case here. 7/10. We learned that a percent is a part of 100, right? It's how many parts of 100. So if I can get this to look like something over 100, it's a lot easier because that gives me my percent. The denominator here is 10. So if I multiply that times 10, and I multiply the top by 10, I get 70/100. Anytime I have a fraction over 100, I know that the numerator is my percent. So if it's something like, if you have a 5, a 10, a 20, a 50 in the denominator, you can easily make those, turn those into 100 and do the same thing to the top, and it'll be faster than doing long division. Okay, so each one of these I'm going to look at that. Number 4, 1/8. Does 8 go into 100 evenly? It does not. So I don't have much choice here. It's 1 divided by 8. 8 won't go into 1, so I'm going to do my decimal. Put a 0. 8 goes into 10 one time, which equals 8. I'm going to get 2 left over. 8 doesn't go into 2, so I'm going to bring another 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times, which is 16. You get 4. Do another 0 because 8 won't go into 4. 8 goes into 45 times, which is 40. So I won't have a remainder. So I have 0.125. Convert that from a decimal to a percent. I get 12.5%. All right. 1/5. I need to recognize that I can turn that denominator and multiply by 20. Multiply the top by 20. I get 20/100. My answer is 20%. So you can kind of see the advantage of recognizing that if it's over 100, it's already pretty well done for you. Number 11, 8/16. 16 doesn't go into 100 evenly, so I'm not going to have a trick there. 16 doesn't go into 8, so I'll do my decimal trick. 16, how many times does it go into 80? So it goes, oh, golly. Look, we're going to go ahead and do it. So that it goes in there 5 times, which equals 80 minus 0. So 0.5, move my decimal place 2 places to the right, I get 50%. Right, and the reason I say golly is because that's one that we should immediately recognize. If we just reduce that, 8/16 reduces to 1/2. Clearly 1/2 is equal to 50%. So if you can catch that stuff early, you won't have as much work. Okay, now this one's a little different. On number 14, it wants us to change this fractional percentage to a decimal. If we were just changing a fraction to a decimal, it's pretty easy. 3/4% would just be 0.75. That's one of those that we should be familiar with. But because it's a 3/4%, that's different. So here we go. 3/4. I'm going to change it to a decimal percent first. So 3/4 is 0.75%. Then I'm going to move my decimal it's going to go backwards this time. I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the left, just like we did in the last section. 0.0075, and that'll be my solution. Alright, we'll do one more. We got 7/8%. Again, a fractional percent is different than just a fraction. Changing it to a decimal. First, I need to change it to a decimal percent. 7/8 means 7 divided by 8. I do know that the quotient here is going to be a percent when I'm done. 8 won't go into 7, so I'll do my decimal trick. 8 goes into 78 times, which is 64 minus 6. 8 goes into 60 7 times, which is 56. One more 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. I no longer have any remainders, so I'm good. So now I've got 0.875%. It asked me to take it all the way to a decimal. We don't want to stop right there. We want a decimal, not a decimal percent. So I need to move my, anytime I'm going from a decimal to or from a percent to a decimal, I move my decimal place 2 places to the left. And I'm going to get 0.0. Is that right? Yeah, 875. It's easy to get lost in the zeros, especially when there's a bunch of them. All right, so that is 2.2% with fractions.